Welcome to the Three-Man Weave Show, hosted by SportsbookReview.com. A lovely Monday, a very short slate of games. In fact, might be our shortest show of the season, aside from the Christmas preview. 10 games today, guys, on the board, thanks to a couple cancellations. We have some change-ups in our rundown, which we will talk about a little bit later. But first, welcome to the YouTube channel, SBR Sports Picks. Please do like and subscribe to the channel, and go to sbrpicks.com/NCAAB for more college basketball content from the Sportsbook Review team. Let's get a few takeaways from yesterday, starting with Jim. Jim, what'd you see on Sunday, on Valentine's Day, by the way? Happy Valentine's Day to you.
Well, Ky, thank you. I appreciate that. I went take away from the full weekend. I didn't just go biased towards Sunday, but really the thing that jumped out to me was that the elite remained elite. We watched Gonzaga just absolutely destroy a San Francisco team that's given them problems in the past. Michigan, despite a very slow start, came back and dominated the second half against Wisconsin, won that half by 20. And Ohio State was also awesome again. Matt, they took down your Hoosiers, basically controlled that game wire to wire despite a mini Indiana run. I think it's early in the second half.
Yep.
It's kind of insane to see those four teams really separate themselves as the obvious one seeds at this point. Yeah. And hashtag people forget that one of Ohio State's losses was when EJ Liddell had mono. So this team is really, really good with him in the lineup. They've proven it over and over. Right now, that's your 4-1 seeds. And Kai, just a quick thing from the bracket reveal. That means Illinois, who is the currently top-ranked 2 seed, would have to go in Baylor's bracket because of the conference alignment. That could get really interesting.
Yeah, we saw those two teams play earlier this year, Jim, and Baylor eviscerated them in the second half. I'll stay in the Big Ten for my takeaway as well. I can't make any sense of the top of the league with those musical chairs. It seems like every week we're talking about a new darling of who's surging, who's going to really step up. Now we have Michigan back, and they're just, I think, reasserting that they are the top dog in that league after a tough first half, but got it going in the second half. I think, to Jim, your point, we're fortunate to get some lucky three-point shooting misses from the Badgers. But I want to go all the way to the bottom of the spectrum for my takeaway. Nebraska has been sneaky feisty. We have to tip our cap to Fred Hoiberg, what they've been able to do coming out of a brutal shutdown. Well, getting a big win at Penn State on the road yesterday. I believe they've covered 3 of their last 4 since coming out of the shutdown. 4 of their 5 games since coming out of the shutdown. Illinois took them to overtime after I crowned Illinois one of the best teams in the Big Ten. So this team's athletic. Are they well coached? Do they make the heady play always, Kai? No, they don't. But I think in a league where sometimes the athleticism isn't always at that elite level, I think Nebraska can hang around in some of these games down the stretch.
I got a couple quick hitters for you. Number one, Michigan's still legit. Tough Badger collapse, but they're legit. Jim talked about it. Matt talked about it. Number 2, Drake, still feisty without Tank Hemphill. I do think it's going to catch up with them. I don't think they're going to keep covering games like crazy like they were at the beginning of the season. But still, impressive win. Shows you how good their defense is. They really locked down Loyola, especially in the second half there. And then road Minnesota. Still road Minnesota, guys. They just cannot win on the road. A completely different team. We've talked about it all year. It's truly staggering how dichotomous this team is from home and away. That's it for takeaways, guys. Oh, I also tweeted that Gonzaga was easily the best team in the country. I got a lot of pushback for that. A lot of narratives on scheduling. Come on. Are we really still doing this with Gonzaga?
Well, Kai, you clearly have never watched Baylor play, so you can't make that take.
Someone said that. I'm like, I swear I've watched Baylor. They just beat San Fran by 50. I mean, this team is ridiculous. Gonzaga is the best team in the country, guys.
I agree.
All right. No Let's go to the rundown. We're going to hit every game today. So chat mob, throw the questions out, but we're probably going to hit everything anyways. So sit back and enjoy the ride. Let's start with Virginia at Florida State, by far the marquee game of today. Nice voice crack by Kai. It's early. Florida State -1, -1.5, I believe, at most places. FSU looked like a juggernaut for a while, but they've been shaky in their last 2. Matt, they lost to Georgia Tech before shutting down. Then they needed overtime to beat Wake on Saturday. Meanwhile, Virginia, 11-1 in the ACC, clearly the best team in that conference. Who do you like tonight?
Sidewise, I don't really have a strong take here. I do noting that Florida State got Anthony Polite back last game. I had a really nice outing at his debut, so they are at full strength. The Noles had that hot surge, and I think they came back down to earth. So at this point, we know what both teams, who they are. They are who they are at this juncture. I'm looking more toward a total play in this one. I'm going to kind of set up Jimmy Undertaker here for what I believe he will probably endorse. Just a quick note: the last 10 meetings between these two, 8-2 to the under, and I think it makes sense when you think about the stylistic clash here. Florida State, tough to get going in transition against Virginia's hyper-disciplined pack line. You're not going to get anything going toward the rim easily. So Florida State historically has been forced to make shots in this matchup, Jim. And while they can make shots, that's certainly not their forte.
I'll do you one better, Matt. 11 of the past 14 and 16 of the 20 games have gone under since Tony Bennett got there.
We're way back in those archives, baby. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I dug. However, 2 of the last 3 have gone over. So, if you really are more into recency trends, it started to flip a little bit. The totals are always low, especially lately. I think last year, one of them was 114 and there were 117 points. So, great. It barely skated over. But, yeah, I agree that the matchup is tough for Florida State. However, this team's a better shooting squad than we've seen in the past.
Yeah.
There's possibly some regression there. I don't think MJ Walker is a 45% three-point shooter. I just don't. He's been a 35% career guy. I think he's a little above his head there. But they still are a better shooting Florida State team than we've seen in the past. And Virginia also clearly a better shooting team than they were last year. I think they're second in the country in three-point percentage. So potentially some hot shooting could lead this one over. However, Virginia's really controlled the tempo against these guys in the past. I just agree, Matt, with your undertake. I'm not going to officially endorse it just because I don't really want to bet the under in this game. I don't want to be sweating that as a show play. So a big lean there, but I'm not gonna make it official.
Yeah, it's been bet down, I think, 1.5. So maybe at the opener, if it gets up to 130, I would advise stepping in, but not at the current number.
Yeah, from a side perspective, Virginia has made chili and pulled pork lately. They're back in prime crockpot mode, fellas.
Yes, they are.
They've covered 2 straight games as a favorite, despite scoring 57 and 60 points. The defense is there. It's working. It's firing on all cylinders. But Ky, that's not really the side you like, is it?
No, I like Florida State, actually. I'm leaning towards the Noles here. You talked about three-point shooting. They're number 1 in the ACC in percentage. Sure, there might be a little bit of regression coming, but they have more guys than just Walker that can shoot. They have 5 or 6 guys that can hit a three. And their shaky ball handling, they've turned it over a lot this year. That's not really going to come into play against Virginia, a team that doesn't really pressure. Someone on Twitter actually was talking about how interesting it would be tonight, will be. Ky Clark, 5'9", right? His matchup with pick a guard on Florida State.
Right.
There's a huge size advantage there. And Florida State all over the court is enormous. Long defenders everywhere. These games are always very, very close. Great spot for Florida State here. So, yeah, I'm leaning towards FSU. All right, moving on. The schedule says Texas Tech TCU. That game was pushed back to Tuesday. We're going to switch it up here and go Eastern Kentucky at Tennessee Tech in an OVC battle.
Keep it Tech, baby.
Keep it Tech. We're keeping TTU on the schedule, just going Tennessee Tech instead of Texas Tech. EKU wants to be a top dog, Jim, in the OVC, but it seems like they're pretenders. Smoked by Austin P, Murray, and Belmont in February, but they're good at beating up on these bad OVC teams. And Tennessee Tech, not exactly the best. Who do you like in this matchup?
I thought it was a little too high when it crept up to 9, but it's back to 8, which is where it opened at, and that's closer to the right number for me. So a little bit of a lean to Tennessee Tech, who I do think is better as a dog, but they could turn the ball over 20-plus times in this one. It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
Shockingly, in the first matchup of the year between these two, Tennessee Tech took the lead with 4 minutes left. But, of course, EKU ended with a 13-2 run, extended it to double digits, made it look like it was a blowout the whole time. I think Tennessee Tech can be feisty, but honestly, Eastern Kentucky's Trey King had 29 and 9 in the first meeting, and they still don't have anyone to guard him. Amadou Sila has missed 2 straight for Tennessee Tech. He's really their only athletic forward big guy.
Yep.
Without him, King could probably go for 30 plus today. So it's a stay away, Matt.
Yeah, I think that's still a matchup as the one I'm looking at. If he's in the lineup, I'm gonna probably add Tennessee Tech. I'm with Jim. I think the number's a little bit too high. We talked about how a lot of these bottom tier OVC teams have just been putrid. A big reason why is because most have had key injuries. Tennessee Tech, no exception to that, with Cia out. Now they have Keyshawn Davidson, I believe, out as well. Tawati Williams. So a couple of their key guys have been out the last few weeks. I think we've seen some crack from this Tennessee Tech bunch. Here's just a way to look at this game. I do lean Tennessee Tech from the following lens. Eastern Kentucky just closed 7.5 over Tennessee State over the weekend. They trounced them. This line opened at around the same number, and I think Tennessee Tech is categorically better than Tennessee State. I know that's up for debate, but that's just where I am. So I think
I'll debate the categorically part.
Yeah,
you would think so? Man, I think Tennessee State's awful. But anyway, yeah, Tennessee Tech I think can be feisty here tonight. I'm just not geeked about betting a home dog, which just have not played that well this season.
I'm nervous about taking bad teams against Eastern Kentucky. They have an ability to run teams out. The way they shoot, the way they pressure, the way they get out in transition. The first game, the three-point shooting for both these teams was absolutely insane. 31 for 68 combined from deep. That's an anomaly for Tennessee Tech. They are the number one team in the OVC in three-point attempt rate, but they are not great shooters. EKU actually has some good shooters in this roster. They're going to force a ton of turnovers in this game, so I actually lean towards the Colonels, but the number just isn't right for me to be taking it. So we'll move on down the outline to a game that's actually on our outline. East Tennessee State at Chattanooga. A really good SoCon matchup here, a sneaky good matchup. ETSU, I think it's Chattanooga, by the way, -1, -1.5 most places. Yeah. ETSU looking a little human, losing 3 of their last 4. Then they snapped back, Matt, and they got a 22-point win over Wofford. Certainly an impressive effort there. Chattanooga, though, 1-4 straight. They're looking very, very good lately. First matchup was a 2-point game. Who do you like in this one?
Yeah, that first match was a crazy game. Tennessee Tech had a big lead late. They blew it and ended up squeaking by.
Tech.
I'm sorry, Chattanooga. I'm still stuck in my OVC brain. Yeah, East Tennessee had a huge lead. I'm sorry, Chattanooga had a huge lead. They blew that lead. They ended up squeaking by 2 points. God, I got all my Tennessee Sunbelt teams mixed up in my mind here. But
Matt Caldwell had to hit a tough 3.
Down it was like a buzzer beater, right?
1 second.
Yeah,
yep.
That's right. Okay. I think we talked about the dynamic where you're getting a team in a rematch. You took your foot off the gas. You know that you can't take them for granted. These are 2 teams in different weight classes, so I'm not sure that dynamic applies as strongly. But I do lean Chattanooga. The only problem is, Jim, I see the line's been bet up from pick to -2. I think that's just too high at this point.
I actually don't think these are in different weight classes. I'm a big Nuga guy. Canes Nation just called them my favorite team in the chat. They're not quite there, but I have really been sold on this team watching them. Two great guards that can control the game. East Tennessee State's shooting 42% from deep in conference play, 40%, which is well over their season average of 35. Like I just think some of the shooting's been unsustainable, especially Ladarius Brewer and Donald Sloan. I like the mocks here, but yeah, the number does not behave for me, Matt. So unfortunately, I can't bet them. But I don't know. The rematch revenge scares me for East Tennessee State, but I just like this Nuga team, Ky. I'm sorry, I can't help it.
It's all right, Jim. Yeah, ETSU, they shot out of their butts in the first game, 12 or 23 from deep. They just couldn't score inside. They were missing everything. I don't think Chattanooga's interior defense is that good.
No, it's not.
Their defense, in fact, all year has been kind of just okay. I think they're 7th in the SoCon in adjusted efficiency. So I actually see a bounce back for ETSU here. They were kind of dominant inside in the first game. They just missed shots. So I actually lean towards ETSU. As a short dog here, +1, +1.5, leaning towards the Bucks.
Yeah, Ky, since they've gotten Hankton back, the former SLU transfer, they actually do play some smaller lineups. So I think that could play in your favor tonight. East Tennessee State can be disciplined enough to get inside shots and be patient.
Yes, I agree, Matthew. Moving on to the Apple State. That's Washington, Matt, for those keeping track at home.
Yep.
Washington.
The Apple Cup. The
Apple Cup. Washington at Washington State. Wazoo, -7.5. Woo. Spread's high considering the programs and the history here, but Wazoo's just been a lot better than the Huskies this season. Jim, Washington's 2-12 in the Pac-12. Holy cow. Wazoo won by 15 in their first matchup. Do we see another drubbing by Washington State tonight?
I'm not really excited to bet Washington State is this big of a favorite, to be honest. Yeah. Isaac Bonton got a little banged up at the end of the USC game, was kind of limping around, limped off the court. He's probably fine. It was probably more an ego injury because they were getting run off the court in the final 2 minutes than it was anything else. But I don't know. So I looked at some of the zone splits because both these teams play a lot of zone.
Yeah.
Obviously, Washington is almost all zone. And Washington State stinks against zones. They've been really bad against USC and Oregon State zones. Obviously, this isn't USC. This is not a USC caliber defense for the Huskies, but that concerns me. Wazoo's got to get hot from beyond the arc to score consistently. On the other end, though, Washington is terrible against man. And Wazoo's defense, Matt, this surprised me. They're way better in man-to-man. They're in the 83rd percentile nationally when they play man. They should stick with that in this game because otherwise, or if they do, I don't think the Huskies can score. I don't have a big lean on this one. It was, like I said, Wazoo as a favorite isn't too tantalizing to me, but I will not bet Washington. I've made a policy to not bet Washington all season. I don't trust that team at all. They stink.
Good policy.
Staying away, Matt.
Yeah, if you look at Washington's last 3 games, they've basically leveled off, right? They're bad, but they cannot. Their sharp decline and spiral into oblivion has sort of stopped. They gave Oregon a pretty good fight. I know that game was hung around 10-14 most of the way, so I'm not going to crown them for that. Obviously, just played UCLA to a 3-point game on Saturday, so I think their value is pretty much priced accurately now in the market. I'm with Jim. I don't want to bet Washington State as a big favorite here. Just they've been, I think they're 4-1 this year as underdog. They're under 500 against the number as a favorite. It's a young team, and as Jim mentioned, especially against a zone where Isaac Bonton can't, come off 3, 4, 5 ball screens, get in the middle of the defense, and make everything easier for the rest of those young, freshman, sophomore. They should struggle to score in this game if Mike Hopkins does in fact go heavy zone, which I think he will. So hard stay away on all fronts here, Ky, per Matty Fence Rider's token reputation.
Yeah, such an exciting matchup here. The worst offense in Wazoo in the Pac-12 versus the worst defense in Washington. So you think, okay, Wazoo's offense maybe doesn't hurt the terrible defense of Washington very much, but Wazoo grabbed almost half of its misses in the first game. Offensive rebounding like crazy. So yeah, if they're in zone, it's going to be another bloodbath on the boards here. Washington State's a really big team, like one of the biggest teams in the country. I don't see how Washington really scores that easily because Wazoo's actually pretty good on defense. So I'm leaning towards Wazoo. The spread's obviously way too high for me to take. I'd probably make it around the number, around 7, but leaning towards Wazoo. All right. I don't know, guys. Should we break for chat mob? Should we just keep going and hit the chat mob questions at the end?
Yeah, let's hit them all at the end because I think at least one of the ones that's on the list is a best bet. So there's just not that many games. It's hard to have a lot to talk about.
All right, powering through to our next game on the rundown. We got a SWAC battle. Get to talk some SWAC. Texas Southern at Jackson State. Should be a good game here. Pick is where I'm seeing the line currently. Oh, no. Did this game get called off, guys? Yes, it did. This game got postponed. Ooh, that is unfortunate. This was going to be a really good game. Wayne Brent probably having his best team during his tenure at Jackson State. So I guess we got to move on. Could be a short show today, everyone. Jackson State, Texas Southern canceled.
It's moved to tomorrow, just FYI. And it's going to be roster questions with Tristan Jarrett, whether he's playing after throwing his jersey onto the court last time.
We'll talk to them tomorrow then. All right, moving on. Next game on the rundown, Murray State at Actually, so this is another substitution as well. This was going to be Southern Mississippi Valley State. Instead, Murray State SIUE.
No, this is on the rundown, Ky.
You're right. I just realized my mistake. Murray State at SIUE on the rundown, and we're talking about it right now. SIUE, guys, this is their 13th game in 26 days. That's a lot of games. Like I said on a previous show, they've actually been pretty good against the spread. They're 7-5, I think, against the number since starting this insane run. But Murray is a quote-unquote good OVC team. They have certainly struggled a lot more against those caliber of opponents. Jim, does Murray go ahead and blow SIUE out tonight?
I think so. Schedule-wise, it's not really great for Murray either. It's their third game in 4 days. They played Friday and Saturday. They've got a busy slate ahead of them. But, yeah, I got to ride with Murray. In a very slim pick-and slate, this is my best bet of the day. It is way up from opener. I believe it opened 10 and is at minus 11.5 right now. So I definitely like it less. If I were, doing confidence pool on my best bets this season, this would be on the very, very low end because I don't love the value anymore. But we got to give something. We're going to have a best bet. Murray State's been playing much, much better lately. They've figured things out defensively, especially. I think they can shut down SIUE. And offensively, they're turning the ball over less. Early in the year, they had so many unforced turnovers, just constantly would throw the ball out of bounds, dribble off their feet. And Matt McMahon was just completely baffled in post-game press conferences. He's like, I don't know what to say. We just can't do those things. We practice, we work on ball security, but against an SIUE team that is in such a tough schedule spot, I don't think turnovers will be an issue. Murray not in a bad, there's no look ahead. They just play Eastern Illinois this week, which is fine. So I am going to take that minus 11.5, not feel great about it, and lock it in as best bet.
Yeah, Jim, as you mentioned, Murray playing a lot better. I think the key has been Chico Carter. He's a sophomore point guard, was a really highly regarded recruit coming in last year. Sort of had an underwhelming season, had a slow start to this year, but Matt McMahon inserted him into the starting lineup the last 3 games. 17 points, 22 points, 23 points. I believe he's dished out 3-4 assists in each one of those games. Cut down on turnovers as well. I think he's been the catalyst. Murray is 6-1 in their last 7 against the spread. And it's sort of this, it's either Murray's actually getting a lot better, which I think is partly true, but I think it's a function of the schedule as well, right? Again, playing a lot of these bottom tier, dinged up, battered, bruised OVC teams, making them value might be slightly inflated against an SIU team here tonight, Ky, who's healthier. Sid Wilson, I believe, has played the last 2 or 3 games. He's been a big boon to that offense. So I don't know. I'm trying to reconcile those forces in my head, but I don't know. Where do you stand here?
Yeah, I agree. Their KenPom rating's gone up, certainly because they've been blowing out these bad teams. But this is a Murray team that we expected to be top 1, top 2 in the league preseason. Their talent is ridiculous on this roster. There's no way they should have been struggling early in the year. So yeah, this spread is high. They've certainly gotten inflated by beating bad teams, but they should be a good basketball team this year. They should be a dominant OVC force.
They're also playing another bad team, so it's good that they've been blowing bad teams out.
True.
I hope they do it again today.
Yeah, they have the ability to do it. SIU's not hopeless, like you said, Matt. They're definitely not. They have some guys that can play clearly on this roster. I just have to lean Murray. I mean, 13th game in 26 days. It has to mean something against good teams. Maybe it won't, but I'll take my chances on Murray's side.
Just worth noting, this is Murray's 3rd game in 4 days as well. They've not played the accumulation effect, not as strong, Ky, but I do think that matters. As Jim mentioned, just reinforcing it.
These 2 play again on Saturday. That matters too, but to me it doesn't.
Moving on. Now, this is a game that's no longer on our rundown. Southern Mississippi Valley State. Unfortunately, we don't get to talk the Delta Devils today.
We wanted to, though.
I had so many good takes. I had a whole page of notes on Delta Devil basketball history and how they,
I was jacked to talk them, but now we're going to talk the Jacks instead. We're talking Stephen F. Austin at New Orleans. SFA -10, I believe. There might be some. My board's a little delayed, I think. I think it's around 10. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat mob, because this is my best bet. SFA -10. Correct me if I'm wrong.
10.5 right now.
10.5. I'll take it. -10.5 SFA. Class of the Southland, guys. 8-1 in the league. New Orleans hasn't played since January 30th. These 2 teams did play earlier in the season, January 2nd. It was a 9-point game. Teams combined for 3 for 15 from 3. Neither shoots many threes, and both deny the 3-point line very well. The key here for SFA, 5th best offensive rebounding team in the country. That's right, the country. 5th best free throw attempt rate in the country. That's right, the country. New Orleans sucks at disallowing both those actions. One word of caution, though, Rody Ware, one of SFA's best players, has missed the last 2 games. I'm hoping he's back. I don't need him back, but I really hope he plays. I just don't see this game being close. So SFA -10.5 is going to be my best bet, Jim.
Yeah, Ky, I think you're probably on the right side. SFA was up 20 like the entire second half in the first meeting, and then just kind of some garbage late run from New Orleans got it down to 11 and got the Privateers the cover. But SFA, the clearly better team, they're structured very similarly. Both want to force turnovers and both don't take care of the ball at all. So when there's 2 similarly styled teams and one is clearly better, you definitely want to lean towards the better team because they're just better at what the other team wants to do. Yeah, a big SFA lean for me. I can't quite get there in number, but I think you hopefully have the winner with the Lumberjacks.
Just something to know here. New Orleans is off a COVID shutdown. I think that's why the money betted up from -8, 8.5 to 10. Also, the fact that SFA is just a better team. Let's just be honest. So I think you guys have the right side there. I just love that we kept the Southern and Mississippi Valley State logos below here. I think those are 2 of my favorites. And it's, while we're obviously not talking about that game, it's just nice to see the Delta Devil get some featured love on this show.
Good colors.
It is. All right, let's head to best bets and then round out any games we missed. Jim gave his best bet. Remind the people.
Murray State -11.5. That is my best bet at SIUE, hoping the legs catch up to SIUE and Murray State keeps blowing bad teams out. That's all I got today. Matt, your best bet?
I'm going with USC Upstate on the extra board. One of the games that's actually left. Of course, it's been already bet up to -1 USC Upstate. That's fine. I'll still lock it in. I just think this team's better than Presbyterian. I don't have a long-winded nuanced take on why I love this game matchup-wise. Just think they're the better team. Presbyterians played better because they've gotten some guys back, but they're still ultra-reliant on making threes. And at UC Upstate forced some turnovers, get some easy ones in transition. I'll take the Spartans.
And my best bet, once again, SFA minus 10.5. All right, guys, let's hit the rest of the games on the board here. We don't even need to consult the mob because I can see what we missed. And it's basically just one game, I believe. Yep.
One game.
That is Hampton-Longwood. Guys, I'm leaning Hampton in this matchup. Spread seems high. Matt, what do you think?
Yep, I'm a Hampton Pirate guy today. Longwood's a team we've been playing whack-a-mole with all season. I feel like we liked them early. We loved Griff Aldrich. They struggled. And we overreacted and downgraded them in our ratings. And then, of course, they've been scorching hot since. So I'm still trying to pinpoint where this team is. They have some serious athletes. Their freshman point guard Hill has been phenomenal. I think they're going to be awesome down the road. I feels like they're ahead of schedule right now, and this line feels a little bit inflated. I'll take the Pirates.
Yeah, they benefited quite a bit from awful Gardner-Webb shooting this weekend. That was very, very important for them. And yeah, they just eye test. I was watching that game, Ky. They threw in some bad shots, but this has been bet down from 6.5 opener at Chris to 4.5. I'm not really into that current price that has gone past my strike. I liked Hampton at 5.5 especially, but going to stay away at the current price of 4.5, and hopefully I would love to see a blowout one way or the other here and step in on the second leg.
It's down to 4.5. Yeah, I can't. Not 5 or higher for me, so I guess it won't be an official show play. Bummer.
Yep.
All right, that's it, guys. That's our show. Let's actually hit this one question from Light the Lamp here. He asked about a prop on William Hill, Baylor Gonzaga plus 100 or the field minus 120. I assume to win the championship here.
Yeah.
I mean,
Baylor Gonzaga.
Baylor Gonzaga for me. Yeah.
If you can guarantee me that both teams will not be like a victim of some COVID shutdown where it's just something catastrophic, then I think that's a phenomenal bet. There's no way these teams are losing. I'm sorry.
Well, famous last words.
Yeah.
All right.
That's
all
fine.
right. We'll end the show here. Give you guys 3 minutes back on your Monday. Appreciate you joining. We'll have a longer show tomorrow on Tuesday at 9 a.m. Central. Again, please like and subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Subscribe to the YouTube channel, SBR Sports Picks, and go to sbrpicks.com/NCAAB for more college basketball content. We will see you tomorrow, 9 a.m. Central. Have a good one.